Hey guys, today I want to talk about the 6 marriage tips, the 6 tips for relationships that help every couple grow in their relationship, in their intimacy, in their closeness, in every way. Here are the 6 research-based tips. Check this out. Hi, my name is Frank DeGracia. I'm a couples counselor, and if you've been really enjoying the topics and the content that I've been putting out there, please like this video and also subscribe to it so that you can get a notification when there are future videos that come out. I try to put these videos out every week because I know it helps people. It's being shared. People's been writing in and just talking and telling me how much value they've been getting from these things and how much it's been kind of helping them in their relationship. So let's get right into it. The first thing when it comes to building long-lasting relationships, I would like to encourage people, and I tell couples this, is that they need to, number one, prioritize friendship. Prioritize friendships. See, the Bible says this in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17. It says that a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. So it's important here in this, the principle of this verse in Proverbs chapter 17 is that a friend loves at all time. And in the midst of the adversity that couples, that in the midst of adversities that friendships have, in the midst of that, they can stay together. They can continue to cling to each other, get each other's back. And it says a brother is born for adversity. Even though this is in the context of friendship, understand that in marriage, you should be friends as well. That there's an understanding that you get your partner's back, right? A strong relationship, according to Dr. John Gottman of the Gottman Institute, a psychologist who created many decades of research when it comes to relationships, found that the foundation of healthy relationships is friendship. Let me say that again. The foundation of every healthy relationship is friendships. And so this is where a strong marriage starts with a deep friendship. Are you laughing together? Are you enjoying each other's company? Are you continuing to do this thing called date nights? Remember that? Date nights is the thing that you did every time, every week, if not every day, with that significant other to get to know one another, right? So be your spouse's best friend. Get to know your friend. Get to know her. Maybe there were things that she used to like, now she doesn't like, and she likes something else. Maybe there's things that she used to do a lot of times and she doesn't do it anymore, and she does something else. Get to know what are those details. What are the small details of her life that you just like took for granted, and you figure, she loved me already, so I don't need to spend time and invest into the relationship. In fact, that is one of the biggest reasons why relationships begin to erode, and begin to the love for one another begins to dwindle. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 9 says, "Enjoy life with your wife, whom you love, all the days of this meaningless life that God has given you under the sun." That first phrase in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 says, "Enjoy life with your wife." You need to enjoy one another's company. Enjoy each other when you go to go here to there, when you go grocery shopping. Are you guys enjoying each other's company, right? Are you enjoying, or are you just enduring? Okay, so the first thing we understand is we need to prioritize friendship in the marriage, in the relationship. The second thing is this: use the 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative interactions. Dr. John Gottman, I just love getting his principles and his learnings, because he's done this with thousands of couples over decades of research. And they found that building up your spouse with kindness, building up your spouse with compliments and affection strengthens your marriage. I mean, this is common sense, right? I mean, if you talk down at your spouse, of course, it's going to break things down. But when you build up your spouse and you share kindness, compliment them, you show affection, it just makes sense how it build things up. In fact, it says in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, it says, "Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." You see that? It's so important for us to build each other up. Now, this is in the context of the church. This is in context of one another. but what more so in the relationship of building each other up. This is about being intentional about the positive interactions that happen between the two of you. This is about showing small acts of kindness. Small acts of kindness can go a long way. The door, opening the door for her, having her to sit down before you, pushing her chair in. This is about the compliments of how she looks. This is about having to take out the trash, do the dishes. This is about all these small acts of kindness, noticing them, praising her for these things. It's about complimenting her more than you criticize her. And that's what the 5-to-1 ratio is. That for every one negative interaction that you have with your spouse, right? Maybe it's a conflict or maybe a little mistake that you did. It's followed up, or not just followed, but it's surrounded by at least 5 positive interactions. As I mentioned earlier, the opening the door, the complimenting, washing her car, massaging her feet, giving her long embraces, or as science shows, the 7-second kiss, whatever it is. It's the small things that matter. You want to remember that statement. The small things do matter. Small things do matter. It doesn't make sense if you have a huge, amazing, romantic weekend getaway, but prior to that was just terrible experiences all the week up into it, right? It's important to remember small things do matter in the long run. The third thing is this: manage conflict, don't avoid it. Manage conflict, don't avoid it. Understand that the couples that end up in disasters fight about the same thing that the masters or healthy relationships have, right? So they fight about the same thing. They have conflict about the same thing, but the thing that's difference between the masters of relationships, the masters of relationship and the disasters of relationship, is that they learn how to manage it well. They learn how to repair well. They learn how to, as Dr. Sue Johnson, psychologist, says, they know how to dance this dance of music. And so in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1, it says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. It's how you say things. It's having to continue to be in dialogue without escalation. And so, you've probably heard things like the I statements. I have a lot of videos on that. It talks about the soft startups and using I statements and having to avoid what's called, again, Dr. John Gottman says, the 4 horsemen of criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling, right? And so what can we do? What can we do when these 4 horsemen, as they call it, is conflicting our relationship? And then also part of managing conflict is focus on repairing. Or if you can have a solution, awesome, a resolve, awesome, but repairing the relationship and not blaming each other. As I always like to say, repair is greater than resolve. Repair is greater than resolve. Because again, 70% of conflict cannot be resolvable. 70% of conflict cannot. It's hard to find a solution or solution to it. So the biggest thing about healthy relationships is that they're able to still repair. They're able to still come together and repair, even if they don't have a resolve, even if they don't have a solution that comes out of this conflict. But they're able to manage it, and they don't avoid it. They don't sweep it under the rug. They manage the conflict. The fourth thing is they express appreciation and gratitude daily. They express appreciation towards each other. First Thessalonians 5:18 says, give thanks in all circumstances. Everything. Are you appreciating her in everything that she does? Even if it's a small things, even if she does do it every single day, are you taking the time to appreciate her? Bringing up the small, appreciating her for the small things and the big things, verbalizing those things. And this is about verbalizing it. This is not just a thought. Oh, it's a thought that matters. Absolutely. But you need to articulate that. You need to verbalize it. This is not hard. This is simply saying, hey, babe, thank you for, right? Thank you for these things. Make gratitude a daily habit. I challenge you to appreciate one thing. One thing. What is one thing you can appreciate your spouse for every single day? In fact, down in the comments below, what is one thing you can appreciate her for? What is one thing you can tell her today? All right. Guys, drop it in the comments so we can help each other out and get some ideas and some things that you're going to commit to saying thank you for, even if you do say thank you for that every single day. Even if she does do that every day without any thanks, identify that and thank her for it. Those things, again, small things matter, right? Those things mean a lot. And the fifth principle is this: prioritize physical and emotional intimacy. 1 Corinthians 7:3 says, the husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. This is the holding hands. This is the hugs. This is the staying physically connected. This is about sharing your thoughts and emotions to deepen intimacy with one another. That's what this is all about. Prioritizing that. I know of couples who don't have sex for a few months at a time. Man, can you imagine how starved they are, right? And so it's important to make that a priority. Make that a priority, the relationship. This is something that God has blessed every couple with, to procreate as well as to recreate, right? And so it's important that couples take an initiative and make it a priority for physical intimacy. But here's the important thing that's just as important: not just physical intimacy, but emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy. This is where each other is able to share thoughts, to talk about the deep things in their heart. Men, we are not programmed like this. We are not taught, especially in our culture, in America. This is something that we've been taught to suck it up and drive on. However, what we realize and recognize is that emotional intimacy, emotional vulnerability, sharing how you feel, is what brings couples closer together. I can tell you, every couple who experiences this gap in the relationship, a lot of them happen. A part of why a lot of these relationships get wider, in the midst of all the other injuries that happen in the relationship, is that the emotional intimacy has gone out the window. The wife is able to articulate it, but the husband, that whole part just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And the wife is left to question, to wonder, to assume what the husband is going through. And it's just not happening. The intimacy and the closeness is not just happening. And this is where couples need to seek support, either going through a therapist, a couples counselor, going somewhere just to get that help, and helping them, reading books, taking workshops, whatever it takes to help you begin to have this vulnerable expression of your heart towards your spouse, because that is necessary in having to have closeness. The other thing is this: share dreams and life goals. Share dreams and life goals. Couples who dream together and stay aligned in their relationship are connected. Couples who dream together and have to share their goals and what they want to do in life, and things they want to accomplish in life, or places they want to visit, countries they want to go to, things they want to do. That's sharing dreams. That's sharing goals. Amos chapter 3 verse 3 says, do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? If you want to do this thing called marriage and relationship and walk together, as Amos 3:3 says, there has to be an agreement. There has to be a sharing of goals and a sharing of dreams. This is part of what this is what makes marriage and relationship exciting, is that there's a building of something towards the same goal together. So this is about having to, on a regular basis, dream together, talk about things that you want to build together, aligning your goals and supporting each other's visions and dreams and aspirations. It's so important to keep growing together in purpose, growing together in vision, whatever that may look like. Talk about that. Hey, babe, one day I would love for us to, right? What is that? What would that be for the both of you? I know that life can be so hard, so busy. There's so much things that can get in the way. However, when you do those date nights and you slow things down and you sit across from your spouse and you're talking and you're eating, one of the points of conversation that should come to the forefront is things such as asking your spouse this question: babe, what do you see us doing in 5, 10 years? What would that be? Right? Ask her the question. Ask yourself that question, and don't be afraid to articulate that as well. If you guys could, in the comments below, Which of these principles speak to you the most? And let's discuss those in the comments. If you have any questions, let's keep the conversation going. And so these are the 6 steps, or the six tips that I find that's been very helpful when it comes to helping couples have stronger, healthy relationships. All right, I got another video here. Check this out, and I'll see you there.